sim thadawa di gana sha chidi dedu de tarwa namdo da man sha wan na ka ma le kore ka ga sha sta ko yeru ba su sim de thanda pi yo sim shiwa jambo sto dis ha ko dedu na digo.
So now keep your mind focused on the present moment. And sometimes the thoughts will arise. That's okay. Don't try and cut them, but don't follow them either. Just try and maintain your awareness of your mind in the present moment.
Yang ya namdo ka na mar du re che sa yang ya u jung thang ga jep che thang ga nga jep thare nga che sum jep yang cham sha yang de sa ko che.
So now do the same breathing exercise, but this time, or breathing meditation, but this time do 3 sets of 5 rather than 3 sets of 3, and then again rest your mind in the present moment.
Okay. 아, 다 저는 틀르시 강바 뜻 틀르시 대아스다. 강바 나그도나 강바 마장나 디그스.
Mm.
강바 나그도나 베모 마장 개요머스.
So we want you to feel relaxed. So you've got to sit comfortably. So feel free if you want to stretch your legs out, anything like that. If your knees get sore or anything like that. That's fine.
Mother, you want to sit on the chair? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, or you can sit on the chair as well.
Yeah, 네 가르스나 단다 다리 암존이야 디 계정보래. 당기 곰게야 디 계정보라.
Right.
다 다리 암존이야 디 계정보래.
So now listening's the important thing. You need to activate your ears. That's number one. Right? But previously, the meditation was important. Now you got to start listening.
가르스나다 드링언조 주시디. 양다벨레 로 팔라얀라 제체 다 기생 나가 계제 셰사레 양다베 나 계제 칸데 계제 셰두 칸데 카레 계제 식주 마시에다 디 계정보래도
양타벨레 나 숭사소노.
셰사레스 디 계정보래 셰사르들레 양자 계정보래 나디 주마시에다 주마시에다 계제 식둑자든데 말아야도 배 계정보래스자.
So we'll be talking about right action, but it's just good. We've already talked about right speech. This is all part of the Eightfold Noble Path. And it's important just to cover over right speech again because it is very important, like not lying, not using harsh words, things like that. It's very important to be clear and understand this.
양다웨 레디 둔다 다리다 둔다 제마니로 둔다 닐 게시 가서나 디베 야셴버지나 디드베 야셴부 낭베슌라 일레지코디 베미시망고 레 장가 잡나 자다 제요르스로 네게 다면데 자다 제요르스.
So we'll then be talking about right action, and we've actually left 2 weeks aside for this topic, and the reason is because it's very important, and not only that, it's quite a vast topic. So within Buddhism, there's like 108 aspects to this topic.
대단히 저런서 if you're learning like that, you're never boring. 저런서 boring 자체예요 말이죠.
No chance for boring.
I think some people looks a little bit boring. I think they don't understand. They don't understand really Buddhism's technique, and not useful. If you're learning these things, you no need to become Buddhist. Just you can learn. You can take your life. Your life should lots benefit. And the action like the injil measure. Danda inji nalo kama lagdo provide na le lagro ta inji level action la data ko sikdi tha thanda tha nyewo yores dagda da marede.
So when we talk about this lay, which is in English is action and in Sanskrit is karma. So this word action in English and the word karma, they close in the meaning, but action and karma don't exactly relate to the same thing.
이내 저런서 디 action de lapshano koala hakoya yagado sro.
So but in this context, if we use the word action, it has more understanding. It's easier to understand.
다 단당한서 다리 둔다 되면서 다레 양타벨레 락바디 제와 시 제메데 타와단 데부단도 저 데부미단도 저 셰샤나 페진 야고 머도스로 다리 데드 락바도.
So today we'll just give a kind of rough or gross explanation, general, let's say general meaning of this word, this right action. And then later, if you want, you can go more deeper into like result and things like that.
다 the lady yo 니레 되는 상례 보다는 니라래로 저런 동안 저 뒤에 the positive and negative 다나래다. 다나래.
So generally speaking, we can say there's 2 types of actions. So we can say there's positive actions and negative actions.
다 positive negative 다 락바도 저래로 하면서 직 소제야 서로 꾸무꾸야 서로 밀어슈야 서로 근데 아니 와라면데 다 뇌죽 시야서 도서 상마다 the negative action the rakbar to zoro.
So now the gross so when we talk about negative actions, we're talking about things like killing, stealing, actions that harm your environment or the people around you. So this would be a general explanation of the meaning of this negative action.
다 단다 양탁에 레사데 다 positive 시고르와 양탁에 레사데 positive 레 시고르다.
So when we talk about right action, we're talking about positive action. So trying to change that into positive actions.
단다 먼저 양다 positive 기데 레 야가데 야고체나 도가데 란슈게 매버 차로 그래와.
So if you naturally create positive actions, then naturally your negative actions will disappear.
제가 다 당보 굴론 계정 말이다. 와, 레디 야고 positive the negative side. 만체 굴론을 알려요다. 와.
So the main thing that depends on what makes an action positive or negative is the motivation.
제가 먼저 디 당기 motivation 라서 드림에 all action로 body speech 만 숨난 로어 body speech 만 all action love 망외여서 숨나래 body speech 만
So when we say today all actions of my body, speech, and mind, well, you only got 3 things to worry about there, right? It's not a big deal. You might think, oh, there's so much to worry about. It's only really your body, your speech, and your mind.
네 나네 body speech mind loves that seem the casual speech da body le seem the 당부 용고요. 당부 seem the 용 안테네 나라들로 미질라 지게 슈 미질라다 자그레로 자게나 아니 가시 뇌네랑 미들랑아 자그레 짜고 차시디 그러와 구마 잘라 구마 고에나 잘라도 구마 고 차시디 그러와 딜 심날 망고 콜고다 당부 제가 당부 심게 액션 딜레고래 안테네 body da speech the jail lego라고.
So when we talk about these actions, they all start with the mind. So when like you do something like you fight with somebody or maybe even argue with them or maybe steal from them, whatever it might be, most of the time you kind of plan it out a bit first. You have your big plan of how you're going to steal or harm this person. So it shows that the mind is the starting point for all these actions, and then the actions of body and speech follow that.
하더니 배낭안서 칙칙 간라 셰비 나로 배낭안서 초응어 간래 초 데일리 라이프 간게 셰비 나로 배차샤나 나란서 단다 뉴질랜드로 이나 배하고다 안서 때 수화마게다 데라 빅한드 스티도 칙데 배지고 사오래 칙데 빅한드 디네 라일라오래 데레 action behind it quick.
So, these days, bringing that into your daily life, though, is actually can be more challenging than you'd initially think, right? So we see a lot of this in supermarkets, posters and things saying like, be kind. Well, that's an easy thing to say, but actually bringing that into your life is actually a little bit more challenging.
The public the advertising to ji business advertising da ani famous da shira phenda menjoro de pesha so ya advertising imshi yo marwa ta danda bighan la de pesha so mi ke marwa mi samo days come down cha dang ani panic does a mev cha chidro mi dero
but it's tremendously wonderful to see this because generally speaking most advertising is just focused around making money or something like that. However, this idea of being kind is not focused on making money. It's focused on kind of calming people down, relaxing them a little bit, and getting them to behave with each other in a more positive manner.
We have this lockdown. People have panic, buy panic. You're using big kind. Just you buy $3 table, some people huge problem. Then supermarket a big problem, some people not enough. Then making problem, one person making problem, Therefore, big hand is meaning like that, It's spectacle. You can buy just you're enough, Not thinking, what do I do? Don't panic. Just that they mean like pensing with the lamp, ngala goya 가르도록 와 수수 고야디 빼나 단다 디러위나 뉴질랜드라위나 간주 빼야고다 간주 가면도 야고다 하던다 간주 디 하고 와죠 그래 미망고직 디 하고 오면도 하던다 근데 디 푸시에 치도 오면도 와
So, it's very good to understand this and focus on like what is actually needed and what's actually beneficial. And we need to appreciate that, we have a very good government in New Zealand, especially relatively speaking, and especially at this time with what's happening in the world. So we need to actually take time to appreciate that. A lot of people just complain about the government, but actually, we need to appreciate the good things that the government does.
제가다 먼저 빅한드네 고중나 야고도 드린
So we'll start with this be kind. That seems like a good starting point.
식딜레라고 남상 얘기도
All right. So it's like a good catchphrase, it's immediately like, oh, that sounds cool.
다 당한저 도스인다 곰직겨라 딱게제 대시자라 곰대시자
Okay.
상아 빅한드 간데스 쳐그래 저런저 수수 상로시단더라 아니 되네 제대 게 나랑 가르치고 직시나 아니 직전에 저런저 에디아 사우로 틱틱라시그라 당보 수수 상로때 스탄저라 직들 이게 빅한드지 간데스가 치고도 빅한드 간데스 치고도 딜레야 다 저런저 양자양 곰데스 잡수 아스 비니 엑서사이즈 장가 주접라 아니 되네 당아 디 빅한드 치고도 다 레야고 소라 포스티브 레서 빅한드 저거라 다 빅한드 간데스 치고도 다 디가랑도 지난주 삼로시 당시어서라 근데 제일 능예 삼지 직시 네 직전에 요 등스래라
So now, we've done a bit of talking, so now we should probably mix in a bit of meditation. So we'll do a breathing exercise to do that 10 times. And then after that, you need to actually start to reflect, think about, for you, what does it mean, this be kind? Like,
나랑이 가르치도부터
yeah, so for yourself, what does it mean to you to be kind? Like, what's the meaning behind that? Like, as we said, the words are easy, but what does it actually mean? How do you bring that about?
다디 삼당샤 딜라 고래 제곰수 곰리디 곰리
So this is what we call it's a meditation, but it's what we call analytical meditation. So start with the breathing exercise and then do that.
Oh yeah, da. Da lulu de shaoxian.
So now just
No,
relax.
da dirba chezan. Da ngune chen da mission la ya da big con she la bin con pendo che da. Yi tsik di pechu chewa la da big con she di pendo che was gore. 왜 밀 삼시 chewa pendo chewa re. Pewe tsik sujin, you know. Big cons,
So this be kind, right, from a Tibetan Buddhist perspective, I should say. The idea of this kindness is to benefit others, to help or to benefit others. So it's this kind of good-hearted attitude that is what's meant by this kindness.
다 딜라야 당보디 당원에게 칸에 치즈 비칸 치사디 수수 칠레 인조디 제레다 라 뭐네 수수 더요디 제레 미시 먼저 더 메살랑 먼저 페도 시도 말했어 더 요서들라다 아니 칸데스 펜도 치고도 와 나디 삼당 그랬어
So first, when we talk about this kindness, it's important to start with the people around you, right? The people you have a kind of direct connection with. So that's where you want to start.
다 딜라 릭하시 수수 더 인조디 상상라 먼저 비족 네거티브 망보 통용제로 비족 네거티브인데 망보 통데 아니 마가오드 리그도 당부 데메오서 그래 데메오 마스나는 비족을 칸에 치도 말다 먼저 미드 통디야 데 미가데 데 데와진이 도면도 가실럭다 마디 나나 도구미 마미딜레 데와 책임에 신이는데도 다 두줄라데 심나 강에 빼요든들
So
당부 데메오서 그래 먼저
right. The first thing we need to think about is often when we have connections with people, if they're in a very negative, we say they're a negative person, if we see negative aspects towards them or in them, then we don't want to associate with those people anymore. We don't want to hang out with them. We don't want to be around them. And, to the point where we say, oh, I'm not going to their place, they're too negative, something like that. So you have to actually let go of this idea, right? You have to let go of this thinking because it's impossible to have genuine kindness if you have this kind of thinking.
다 딜라 단다 다다와 삼다디하고 그래. 오늘 다데 곰 비딩 메디테이션 체 캄다운 체로 안 따제 내주 따위는 오늘 신나티 내주 내 상조 장장 수수 삼 수수 인데 내주 내 사월에 상조 장장 내 신쟁아 내 거문도 딩아 디 제서스 오늘 신 사사르다 다 수수 인데
So, well, first it's good the way to apply the antidote to this is by keeping focus on the present moment. So it's good to do a bit of meditation first, breathing meditation, and then look at it. And you'll see that all of this idea that this negativity is something you're holding on to. In reality, in the present moment, that doesn't exist. It's all things that have happened in the past that you're holding on to. So it's merely that holding on to that makes this attitude.
다디 ngala midinde thuson tata ngala le yongro chinju kan ngade midi ngala kangende tesu tikduja de lapso ani kaje be lo mangbo lo nyushi sumju de sindegda tata chokko tati ta tingma chik de susul neure midi tikduja larera tidu ngaz kondo sarada tadi yangja sinde ta ngana susu sinde mishi chatsarada nesiti
So if we look at the situation, we can see that we can be holding on to a lot of things about people. Sometimes we'll hold on to something for 10, 20, 30 years. In reality, like at the time, okay, you could sort of say they did something. And that, at the time, if you reacted to it and got angry, there's some understanding. But now, like if it's happened in the past, the only reason you'll get upset or it's disturbing your mind is because you're holding on to it. The action itself is completely finished.
That's susu 당부 데 매워서 데 매워마스나나 데 비칸을 데 갖고 쉬어지래
So it's manufacturing it. You're manufacturing it. And if you don't know how to let go of this or to stop that process of holding on, then it's impossible to be genuinely kind.
다데 삼다연데 다데라 탑신이여레로 찍디 내주디 대버 차차라 다디 유쇼 와 히스토리제 다 유쇼 히스토리 삼당도나 약쇼레 다디 데즈 카고요레 와
So, this is one method, just to kind of let it go, to see it as the past and let it go on that basis. So, if you can do that, that's wonderful. It's a great method. But sometimes that's actually a little bit difficult.
그래서나 먼저 규릉부 냐데라 그러면서 규릉부 냐저 잘라디 차나 네 방거도 잘라진 것도 규릉부 냐나 아니 용이 두고면도 직벌 되나시 심나 냐데라
So it's kind of like if we've had something for a long time, we become like almost attached to it or connected with it. And it's very difficult then to give it up. So it's the same with this holding on to the past.
미 나나자 다다 저란자 다다 스사하고래 미가시 내주디 안에 ang에 마든데 정도 발라발라발라 팅마 숨쉬 nga든데 셰그래 팅마 찍도 되그래라 니 숨쉬 nga고
Right. So, we can see how we do this, how we kind of regurgitate things over and over again in our head. The same event, we'll think about it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just continue like that.
제가 나 그네는 민두가 번 민두라 다 찾아라 다 배제 몸을 되나 대부 차로다 this seems 짱마르다 단단하게 seems 짱짱냐래 원해잖아
So, this happen, this is holding on to the past. In reality, this is gone. The past is finished. And we've got this is a new time or a new time. What's happened in the past is gone, but somehow we still want to hold on to it.
다들 네 소스에 미들라 콘솔라다 어디 나라라 대화고나시 콘솔에 대화고래 당에 되돌라 로봇 가르치고다 어디 삼로 됐다 안 치고 요래라
So more than that, you should think beyond that, like not only letting it go, but thinking, well, they're a person just like me, and they're having difficulties and problems. So rather than having a conflict relationship, think, how is it possible for me to help?
다 중나 미 바로버디 란레 개체어지 그래 다 낭배게 먼저 배 남바산제베 주인나 당뭐 란레 미신디 개체어지 그래 다 대마주나 찍버지 그래 당하더라
So best, like ideal from a Buddhist perspective, is to see this person as more important than yourself, to see others as more important than yourself. So that's kind of the ideal, but if you're not able to do that, at least see them as equal to you.
세상다 수수원에 편도 지도 가르스나 가시 베샤면일 베샤데 저거래 신다 게면에 게무게 깨지시는 데라 라 게무지게니 깨지시 메베나 다다디 지나 시고로 단대나 보이는 저 수어마게들라 롱드 여라도 주 여라 미상 도보지거다 게무게니 아니 접든데 라니로 막 깨져 첩접든데 시 참마 게물라니 미치게 미숨시 게물라 렉차도더라 도저래다 된대 치고 당서
and the way we help them can vary. Like if they're in financial difficulty and it's suitable to help them with money, then we can do that. However, most of the time it's more just about laughing with them and being friendly with people, right? Like now we have these kind of queues to get into supermarkets and things like that, and everybody's very serious in the queue, right? But if you can talk to people and make them laugh and have fun, and then that's kind of infectious, because if you get a couple of people talking and laughing, then more people will start to do it. And so it becomes like the queue becomes much less intense or stressful.
다 디즈인데 내가 이제 저거다가 나 춘주인데 내가 이제 제토바데서 더저 누워배 첨보래. 언제 낭매다에도 콜라 쇼버지게 디즈 땅 말에 로선 땅 말에 콜데 람베 쇼들라 까마징이 람베 쇼들 밀게지시 미상모 프렌들로 쓰셔나 안디 지조라 도스 지조데 지조데 차고 차그러 지조데 지 웜 소사이티로 차그러 심미시 창물로 베드 그 정모르다 지도 정모.
So you can see the difference if you actually connect with people in these situations. Like people talk with each other, communicate, and like just a bit more open with each other, creates a more warm society, more connected society. Often, society can be very distant and cold with each other, so it's better to kind of communicate with people.
다 당보디 서서 제가 미칸데 제 포지티브 레 양당에 레 문에 쳐야지 계좌 수수 연용이 로고들 계좌 약고시에 당 로고치에 당 안랍자 계좌 심 셈바 꿀룬데다 펜베 꿀룬 거라 제가 only benefit said 누가 첨버다 펜도 제버디 콜라 펜도 하면서 왜파 펜도는 알로 추디라글라 디 요나 아니 용고 말이야 야 강에 야 동에서 그래서
So this becomes this putting this right action, like doing activities. There was a bird hit the window. Doing activities that help others, words, communication, and activities that help others. But when we talked about this, my actions of body, speech, and mind only benefit others. This word "only" has the meaning that it's without any expectation. So you do something to help another person. You're not expecting anything back in return or even expecting gratitude or anything like that. It's merely to help them, and however they respond to that, you shouldn't have any expectation.
expectation 게 녀도 망고 소래 relationship 강에 소르디
So this expectation creates a lot of problems. It creates a lot of tension in relationships.
edit this that to do edit this complain the name gora
Oh, I did this. I did the dishes on Wednesday, and he didn't do them for a week, and then so forth. This everything you do is with this expectation of somebody doing something back.
수수 내가 제버디 펜도 제 아니 샤시다 아니 코이나 뭐 지게 옛날에 맨날에 다 샤시라 수수문에 제도
If you want to do something to help somebody, you just do it, right? Like the whole be all Nike about it. Just do it and don't expect anything back in return.
대콜 누워요 딜 파워요 딜 파워 배좀 봐
So this has strong power.
I have a very funny story I told me yesterday. Last year I went in India, in the Delhi airport. They have in Singapore Island, long queue. And they're behind when the Indian family in the children little bit prayer. And I said, please you come fast, I did voluntarily put there. And another the very old lady coming, please you come fast, I go and there one step coming. They say, sir, you come here. You take to me, other said. And she want to try some me ticket. This mission doesn't work. She lost it, anxious Laura. I saw body language and I said, don't worry. Maybe you ask other people or using other mission. This mission something happen less. Don't worry. I'm very relaxed. For me, no problem, And something happened. I make a little bit relax this person, I saw the anxious, a little bit worry. Oh, this doesn't work, Don't worry, And she asked other people, and then they come, then they fixed, She gave me business class. This is over. Delhi to Singapore business class, Singapore to Auckland business class. Yes, I don't have expectation, nothing, just helping people, just try to make the very kind just small thinking like that, benefit, both benefit, but no expectation. Something you say, oh, it's like God, I'll do something, then nothing God. Oh, this is doesn't. Don't blame me, okay, blame me. Right, yeah. I think I'll try some, the long queue. Go, last you go, you nothing go to you because I said maybe. I think they are. 제자니, 먼저 단대 뒤즈들라 뭐네 레 계저시디 밀펜도시 뭐 그노 야고토네 아니 배차잖아 먼저 둘로 태워봤던데 난 뉴질랜드 야고도 둘로 배 도네싱 데서도 봤디다 버 타트 컨트리인데 미교거든데 도그라 펜도그라로 so generosity 둘로 엑스트라 펜데 요르와 전화서 shoes 20 then 요라 then shoes 가셔 별 룩샤네 니가 제 shoes 가요 말아 사자 가셔
So anyway, we talk a little bit about, generosity is part of this right action. It's a positive thing to do. And, relatively to a lot of countries, being a first world country, we're reasonably well off in New Zealand. So if you have old clothes or stuff that you don't need, it's really good to donate it to people either in your own country who need it or to other countries where there's definitely a need.
Yeah, it's good. Uh, sometimes benefit is small thing, You don't need to put extra effort, right? Just check. Maybe your house make more tidy, make more clean. Otherwise, it's so mess everywhere, shoes everywhere. So you have some people have 20 shoes, No need 20, only one fitting. 음, 아, 들어와. 딘데스 펜도시야 딘데레. 오늘 하버도 배낭 알아서 단수수 되어요. 단데 처럼서다 소셜 커넥션 요로. 유디장가라 믹세지라 단다 소셜 미디어 페이지 시단도서 수수 토고 토모도서라. 사간다 딘데 난데 다 늘라 만도 칼라마 건라 이 메시지 책 당연히 가와 고접더니 계시하고 딘데스 펜도시네 하고.
Okay.
딘데 고조고도 하디.
So the kajish capsule the
당보 계제시 당보 메시지 딱 덱지 폼직제 금편하다 폼직제에서 가서 근데 파샤 당한서 칼라사 야 계제시 되고서 딥조제가 카 매되나 야고도.
And also, it's good to communicate well with others, right? So if you're meeting somebody or catching up with a friend or having a meal in general, it's really good if you have any messages or emails you have to do to try and clear them before. So then when you sit down to eat or talk with somebody, you can just focus on that. You're not constantly like
don't do in the restaurant. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, sometimes you're wrong. Other people. Your plate is empty. Today you try to other people. Oh yeah. Laws haven't like that, And then it's usually in the house, your family or friend, and using phone, talking. Others say not talking firstly, and then not less, not enough understand each other because no talking. Then problem come, If you're talking, then they understand their habit, their character. No, she or here this character. Then you need to be a little bit careful, You can't try to change this behavior. Right? 사실 there's a 표적이 쩐다고 연된도 다 연된다 개요 말이야. 교인들 간절 남산 통거래. 통데 다들 주어다야라 답이시거든. 디 배트 논류래서 디 채나 다 영화요 말했을 때네.
So, where we shouldn't really try and change other people. Like if we see faults and qualities in people. If you see qualities, look, that's not really a problem. But and then when we see their faults, we tend to try and want to change them. But this is mistaken. This is a wrong way of thinking. It doesn't really work that way.
다 내가 답시 가르치고 그래서나 답시 야고스 단계로. 즉 오pen 바주 디스커션 제제 봐. ngala chondu na chira nga labs law thangbo phara nge ngara chon san la ha ko mdo nga chondu na la nga yar je tang gi law ra kon pha lab je nga mandi ko tin de chira la tu na nga lab shows lab na ane video chira de digum la ra na korang ge da nga le tu na labs ane pha lab chula da du se ane yar je do ro da di yak shure da ngone relationship ya wo chen na de che wo da kan da.
If you do have a kind of relationship with somebody where you say to them, look, if I do something wrong, if I do something to upset you, if I make a mistake, please let me know, please tell me. And if you kind of openly communicate with them back first, and they reciprocate with the same thing, saying, look, okay, if I make a mistake, please tell me. Then you're entitled to do it in a skillful way. And if you can do this well, then that can actually build quite a positive relationship because everything's open and not kind of resentment.
다 계주 모래 먼저 단대 뒤지대로 아니 다 내가 치세 저한테 내가 치고라 내가 치세나라 수수 반주이데 하고 그래 배낭아이는 하나 티자 내가 등에 따다 치그래 딜레 개발 도나니 용으면도 야 미야 로고 치러 치랍나 제우라고 미셔지게 반주이 매버잖아 아니 되는 스트레스 룽버 간련 되고다 펜 진이 두고 말해 아니 수수 내가 네 따다야고 제우래로 디 개좀 뭐 쉬워래. 단데 민망고 디 misunderstand 치기도 믹스 치기도 해.
So, it's important also to have clear boundaries of what your responsibilities are. Like if you're working, if you're a teacher, then, this is what your responsibilities are. And then, whatever your job is or whatever activities you engage in, it's good to clearly understand whatever your responsibilities are within that role.
디 개좀 뭐 쉬워래도 이제. 디 제장 두어이베 두어.
Do you guys have any questions?
Do you have a question? Do you understand? Yeah.
Sure.
When you talked about the Buddhist view of other people always more important than yourself, I guess there's some beliefs or conditioning in my mind that struggle with that concept. As for me, it's like the equal thinking is easier, more natural to think. So where does that where's the root of that? Why viewing that way is important?
So the question is, you talked about how seeing others are more important than yourself. Now that's a difficult concept for me to grasp because I'm not familiar with that. Seeing people as equal, I can understand, but why do we see them as more important? So kesi di tekfem pe cho nangla di
미신다
신데 ke chewara di tamnyang hakogido dilelagodo ke chewa 가르치는 di samlo tan kunsen 가르치
디베 두어배하고 두어하고 그랬어.
That's a good question, very good question.
당보 다라래 가서 당보 가서 찍바임바데 하고 디 베스리다 디 고래 가서 당보 콤바 당보 되래 다 콤바 니베디 가서 미신다 가르치니 말레 개체뭐 자그래서 균진 디 두어디 빼야고 그러다 디 두어 땅 거다 가서 가서 상매 두어디 땅제 상매디 렌야 그러다.
So this is a very good question, and it's good that you can accept that everybody's equal, because that's the base, right? That's what you kind of establish first. Then from then you go on to looking at others being more important. So it's a really good question, and it's something we all need to ask ourselves this question. So then we can come to understand that.
가르쳐서는 예 디지디 미션 받는 연구하다. 들이다.
So the reason is because all my happiness comes around independence on others.
말하라는 게 소신제 요 말은 원하시나. 참마 내가 디지네 신라드네 연구래. 타도 가서 산제다 남바 산제에 산제디 심질드네 연구에서 심지 개정벌이라고 그래.
So
먼저 남바 산제에 산제리 심지 개차지고 군조리 심지 개차지고 그래서. 좀제 가서는 심질드네 산제 중원인자 디치고 그래서.
So when we talk about this happiness, we can talk about our temporary or relative happiness, our daily happiness, that comes from others. But not only that, our spiritual development, including right up to what we call enlightenment, comes about in dependence on others. It's based on others that you're able to develop spiritually and attain this enlightenment.
제가 디직디레 니버데 가르서는 낭배기 먼저 낭배다 줍조디 삼시적으로 삼시로 수야고 진일라 파야고 쳐오르 세들이 제가 미신지 수수 디지도 줍두고 요나 아니 콘주 디지도 달라 아니 내 쳐오르다 봐 김전데르다.
So in the Buddhist concept, in the Buddhist we talk about the samshi, which is often translated as empathy.
아니면 이제 understand something.
Yeah, empathy is to understand. Yeah, understand each other's empathy, or understanding each other, but it has this connotation of like a respect aspect to it as well, because the idea is that if others help me, then it's my responsibility to return that, to help them back. Yeah. So the empathy tongue sympathy So just saying there's a difference between empathy and sympathy, right?
그래서 나 세우자서 제가 디디스 가고요. 제가 저런 지고 말해. 미망고가 저지 미션라 개차와 지야당 any expectation 매вет네 펜도 지야서 백하고 그래. 디 속바디나라 백하고 그래서
So this is why it becomes important to have this understanding when you help people, because that's when you get like this idea of just helping people without expectation, right? Without wanting anything in return or expecting something from them.
세상 먼저 상마 특사데 다란진지 말해. 먼저 특사 그래. 먼저 상마 디지 되고 ora. 먼저 상마 디지 되고 그랬다. 이내 담당 안절래 디지 야고지 연구 말했어. 가르쳐내서는 먼저 미신 남매던 거래. 미신 스스직고 개정벌에 미신 유쇼. 디제는 먼저 디지 연구 말해. 다 진업이나 냠내진이 전주선바도서 콘솔레 디지 빼첨보래. 가르쳐내. 콘솔이 심지 신자체 지고래. 쟤네 콘솔레 디지도 정어래. 제가 디 먼저 단다 신자체 맞아요 인자. 먼저 디지 연구 말해. 데리다.
So, and also the other reason is because as human beings, or as beings, we all want happiness, right? However, it doesn't come. We don't get like happiness. And why is that? It's because we're always caught up in thinking about ourselves as more important than others, right? Like I come first and others, well, we don't really worry about them so much, right? As we want to take care of ourselves first. Now, this actually causes us a lot of suffering, whereas you have bodhisattvas or beings with this great compassion and love for others. They always, you can see them. They're completely happy all the time. Why? Because they're focused on the welfare of others and they're not really concerned. They're not focused on their own welfare.
세상다 디 단다 칙디 람상 암전난 조고 말해. 다디 삼노당 아니 미 초데 둠다 근데 미 통조인데 그러가나 지도 난다는 미 셴벤치니도 미도졸라 삼바에 기회요래 강에 정보이네 콘솔레 튕긴레라고 좀 그래 미 가디나 가지고 삼내도 녀다나 셈밤마 기회요래 아니 지칼 강에 스테나 로봇이니시래 요 말에 딘데게 냠뇨 따비지나 다 미신 짜심부셔도 개침버려셔서 딜리그래 갈래리그래 때 뒤져 거그래스데
Just hearing this, of course, is not going to immediately change your view entirely, right? You have to think about it. And you have to look at people who behave in this way, who do put the welfare of others before themselves, and see how their lives are, right? And how people just on a daily basis in society who help and are kind to others, see how people react to them and how their situation is, as opposed to people who are very much just caught up in their own, are not really worried about others. You'll see these people don't really have a lot of positive connections with others, and tend to be quite lonely and these sorts of things, where people who really help others, then they really kind of get connections and positive relationships. And then also you can read like the stories of, historical figures who really put others before themselves and see how their lives are.
I think nowadays you can see in the lot of the internet, you ask Google, Google 뭐지? Google 뭐지? 찍대 두고 말해서. 초와 feeling 때 두고 말해. 신다 만져 때 그래서. 싱 디지 초와 때 두고 말해. 신다 상모 때 그래서. 렌 상모 information 망보라 그래. information 망보 여러 그거 나라. 나 낭배게 싱 디지라 초래야 돼. 그거를 두고 말다 싶잖아.
So, these days we have a lot of technology. So we have Google, and Google knows pretty much everything, right? You can ask it any question and you get all the information and rah. But it doesn't actually produce, Google can't generate a feeling of happiness. Right? The feeling of happiness comes from other people, other beings. You can't type into Google, make me happy, and Google tells you how to do it. It'd be cool if it could.
Maybe they say, work hard. You do work hard. Maybe say like that. 아유. 어딘데 제산다. 어디서 배워 삼당어도 삼당 칼래 그러다 저는 들어. 다디제 다네 건다. 드린 건다다 저는 많이 건라. 다 드린 내가 네거티브 가르쳐도 다디 산이가 양자 지금에서 아 포스트 되시는 포스트 양자치기 가고 보면 니 먹고 건라 안에 포지티브 기니쿠 안에 디 카와디 스위치 업체 니쿠 쇼세.
Also, I mean, it's good to reflect on these things, but also tonight, before you go to sleep and going forward. It's good to reflect on your actions of the day and see how your day was. Did you do positive things? Did you do, and check how your day was and feel good about the positive things you did and make, try and also check if there's things you shouldn't have done that maybe you want to put a stop to. But also then you need to switch off your phone and have a good night's sleep, right?
Nowadays, those people sleeping with the phone, New friend. Ding ding, oh, ding ding. Yeah. The online question or the yeah, now we sort of here, the shower.
Okay, stop.